I've said this before, but I think the proof in the pudding is I want to go and do another one. Yeah, although they're hard and taxing, you really feel like you're developing in them. Just one more. Just one more. You know, I think next time I'll be able to do a little bit more around this, and I think that's that's testament to how it's sort of structured and set up to support you. Hi everyone, I'm Jack Lockheart. I'm a learning and development partner for commercial and industrial divisions at Lanes Group. The first time I went through one of these role plays, one of these scenarios, look, I think, Mark, as many people you put this in front of may feel the same, is I've probably got this. I've seen things like this before. I've probably got it. I've got enough in the back pocket to get through this. And what I found very quickly was it was unlike anything I'd used in the past. You know, those things are generally quite formulaic. If you don't quite give the right answer, it still moves through. You know, this was completely different. Very quickly in my first conversation, I found myself in the deep end without a paddle, and that was really, really challenging to then bring myself back up and do it. The report that came on the back of it gave me some really clear pointers, some areas where I'm strong, but where I could focus on next time. And it's through having another 2 or 3 practices that I've been able to begin to move some of those scores forward to get different feedback. But I think the most important thing about doing that was every time I've practiced, even if I'm using a really similar or exactly the same context, the conversations have been completely different. And that mirrors real life as far as I'm concerned. You're not stepping into a formulaic conversation. If I take that again, I know what question's coming next. I can preempt it. It forces you every time to really sharpen and hone your skills, because you don't quite know what's coming. You can prepare you can prepare yourself for the conversation how you want it to go, but once you're in it, it really is a challenge. And I think, you know, in a really positive way, it's a challenge. It forces you to do that, but in a really safe way. It allows you that time to think, to ask those questions back, and then to have that report that comes on the back end that you can digest personally. I think that makes a difference from, you know, maybe how I've received feedback in the past on the back of meetings or on the back of conversations. It was a real difference. Yeah, it was a real difference maker for me. I think that I've said this before, but I think the proof in the pudding is I want to go and do another one. Yeah, although they're hard and taxing, you really feel like you're developing in them. Just one more. You know, I think next time I'll be able to do a little bit more around this, and I think that's that's testament to how it's sort of structured and set up to support you. There is a real level of psychological safety with having these conversations in this format and having that feedback. I think it allows you, and we've probably all felt this in the past where we've had feedback around a conversation we've had or how we've led a meeting, is it may not be coming in a consistent or an unbiased way. But I think having that sort of really clear report in front of you allows you to do that self-reflection. So yeah, a number of things that really count for me. The psychological safety of being able to have a challenging conversation and to take your time with it, because again, if you're live and in that situation, you don't get the ability often to sort of pause and really think about what's coming next. I think that's vital. That's structuring the feedback that comes out on as a result of that, again, a really strong reflection tool, and structured in a way that again isn't kicking you after, you know, a really tough conversation. It's developmental, it's supportive, but it's also really clear. The bit that I absolutely love is where it directly references things that were said within the role play. So again, it's not, I can tell it's not generic, it's not picked up off a shelf. It's got that real connection. You know, it makes me feel more invested in that feedback because it really reflects on the pieces that have come through. And I think, you know, the proof is I would be happy to go and do that again. And I have, you know, that's I think my 4th time doing it. And every time because I know it's not formulaic and it's not coming off a shelf and it's got a rigid structure behind it, it's a different experience every single time. So I know if I did exactly that same scenario again, I couldn't just get through by just putting that feedback into place. The context, the scenario will have moved a little bit. That's going to force me to stay on my toes. So yeah, there's some really strong points in doing that as a tool.